Composers, welcome to this daily bark, and I am Victor Vargas. And here we discuss ideas around composing art and life. And today we're going to talk about the intuitive artist and the intentional composer, and which is better. So the intuitive artist, they approach their canvas, they approach their subject, and they feel what it is that they want to attempt to communicate. They're intuitively placing their subject in an arrangement that's pleasing and that communicates. They're intuitively picking the colors that work and that feel right for the piece. And I think there's something very beautiful about this and freeing in it. Now, on the other hand, we deal with composers. And composers are intentional about the decisions that they make. They make choices of line and curve and value based on systems of effectiveness. There's this debate, like, which one should I be? And for many, many years, I got myself in a lot of trouble because as a composer, and I didn't really know the words or the message, I would go head to head with artists all the time. And for a very long time, I never considered myself an artist. I considered myself a designer and composer. And I still do. But what's interesting is we live in a time now where we put upon the artist the privilege of being intuitive, and we put on the public the responsibility of being intentional. The composer approaches it the opposite way. We put the responsibility on ourselves to figure out all the nuance of what every line means and why it's there, from the point in which it begins to the point in which it ends to the angle in which it takes. Thrust, it moves the curve from the apex to the beginning to the end. All of these things are managed, controlled, and intentional. And the reason why we do it is because we want to convey a certain message, and we want that primary message, that primary story, that primary sensation to effectively be communicated. The composer does not put the responsibility onto the viewer to figure these things out. And so they allow the viewer to experience the artwork intuitively because we have taken the time to make it effective. So, which is better? Actually, neither. And this is why. In Greek mythology, we have the god Eros. And Eros is Cupid. He is the god of love, of passion. And he fell in love, I guess he shot himself with an arrow, and he fell in love with a human. And her name was Psyche. And Psyche was running away from Cupid. And so when you look at these two, you have passion and you have psyche, you have knowledge. Passion is seeking knowledge, but knowledge is trying to run away from the passion because it's not controlled. It's not facts. Passion is more intuitive. It's passion. It's feeling this thing. But the psyche wants stability. It wants certainty. And if it can't have it, it doesn't feel safe. In this story, in this mythology story, at some point, Psyche gives in to Cupid. They fall in love. There's an appreciation for each other. The problem is because Cupid is a god and Psyche is a human, they can't get it on. So they go to this other god, I forget her name, and she transforms Psyche into a demigod. And when I look at this relationship, what I see is this passion. And as artists, that's how we start. We start with this passion, this need to create, this need to make things, to produce things, to communicate, to express ourselves. And we have to cherish and respect and cultivate that spirit. But we also need to cultivate our intelligence, our mind, our psyche. And at some point when this passion runs after knowledge will start to push away. You may even trust your knowledge more. And that's what happens with a lot of artists. They get rid of the passion, they replace it with the mathematics, and then their artwork has no soul. It's rendered perfectly. Their skill is amazing. They can paint things that look so real, and yet there's something about it, it just has no soul. But at some point, the passion and the psyche begin to attract to each other. When the psyche gives in to this uncertainty, and this uncertainty, this variety, this fire gives into this earth, into this stability, something happens to the psyche. it elevates into another being, another state of being. And that state of being is what I call wisdom, okay? So now you have this passion and this knowledge that's now evolved into a wisdom. And what's beautiful in this story is, which is better, Psyche, the intentionality of composition, or Eros, this intuitive, passionate, sensitive spirit? And the answer is neither. Because the end of this story in the Greek mythology is that Eros and Psyche have a child. And the name of that child is called Delight. And that is what we're seeking. We're seeking a place of delight, a delightfulness in our ability to produce something, to share something. And the way it comes about is when a merger, a marriage, a conception of this new place of being occurs in us. And that's when our passion merges with our wisdom, and it produces something, and both our passion and our wisdom become servants to their child. We serve our work. So on that note, I wish you well. Get in touch with your Psyche. Get in touch with your Eros when nobody's looking. Put a little Marvin Gaye on and get into your studio. Ciao.